Network's Blake Berman reporting live at the White House.
Hi there, Shepard. And one White House official told me earlier today there is not a rush to find a permanent replacement for Jeff Sessions, and that really there's not a timeline either. There were a lot of comings and goings here, though, today as the speculation ramps up as to who might be Sessions' replacement. Lindsey Graham was here meeting with President Trump earlier today. I'm told that those two did discuss at one point the new opening, though Graham has said he has no desire whatsoever to be the pick. Chris Christie was also on White House grounds today, though we are told he was here to meet with Jared Kushner on prison reform as speculation mounts that he might be a potential candidate. The Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein, by the way, also at the White House today. He left about 10 to 15 minutes ago. We are told he was here for something completely unrelated. Matt Whitaker, Sessions' former chief of staff, as you know, a vocal critic of the Robert Mueller probe, now the acting AG. He got the interim nod over Rosenstein. The White House arguing today that keeps department leadership intact. And the Russia probe, they say, is just one portion of Whitaker's new job.
You're also there to represent the United States in all the different court cases. So we're dealing with issues like immigration and health care. You know, Matt Whitaker is being briefed on a variety of these topics, including the Mueller investigation. But again, that's a very small part of what the Department of Justice is doing.
Small but important part. Sessions, by the way, sent a goodbye email to his colleagues, to the entire Department of Justice, and this is how it ends, quote, "No matter what your role at the department and no matter what your task, I hope that you will remember that you are helping us in our mission to protect the American people and the rights we hold dear. I am grateful to have served with people of your caliber, and may God bless you and your families in all you do. Keep improving, getting better, and more productive." The final words from Jeff Sessions over at the Department of Justice. Shepard.
Blake Berman reporting from the White House.
Live from the nation's capital, powerful debate, media, pop culture, politics. It's all debatable with Benson and Harf.
It's Thursday, November 8th, 2018. Welcome to Benson and Harf. I'm Guy Benson, political editor at townhall.com, Fox News contributor. My co-host, who's with me here live in New York City, is Marie Harf. She is the former spokeswoman for the State Department under President Obama. She's a Fox News analyst. And together we are Benson and Harf. Thank you so much for listening. A lot of news happening. It's midterms week still, and we will get to some of the midterms news a little bit later on. But this morning we woke up to horrible news in California, a shooting. We will talk about that later on in the program. And then the political world's attention has shifted, Marie, almost completely over to the Justice Department and the drama there.
Do you think that was the plan by the Trump White House?
Yes.
Yeah.
And it worked, right? In some ways, Trump just says, I'm going to do X, and the media is going to follow.
I mean, he's the president.
And then we do. But it is a legitimate issue. It's not like a weird distraction. Like, right. You know, it's the...
Like some of his stuff.
The Attorney General has been fired. His replacement, people are asking questions. Is he the right temporary replacement? Does he really have the authority to act fully as the Attorney General, particularly vis-a-vis Mueller in any significant way?
And some of the people asking those questions are conservative Republicans.
Oh, I mean, absolutely.
When John Hughes, I'm not sure this is constitutional, that makes you pay attention.
Oh, I mean, yeah, there are plenty of... The idea that conservatives and Republicans never stand up to Trump is a myth. I mean, it happens all the time, especially when he does stuff like this.
It doesn't seem to have much of an impact.
Right. So we'll see what ends up happening here. There are two reports, and we'll be joined momentarily by Judge Napolitano here, but two reports today from CNN, Marie, that are intriguing. One is that Bob Mueller has begun the process of writing his final report, suggesting that he is awfully close. Now, I'm always skeptical of speculation about his timeline because we've been hearing it forever.
It's like when I say I'm 5 minutes away in the car, and I am by no means just 5 minutes away.
Right, yes, that is
it's a good analogy.
A little white lie situation. Right. But
I'll actually be there in 20.
These are now multiple sources saying that Mueller has begun that, and it also does sort of make sense intuitively on a few different levels. And then also the other report is that among those on the short list for the next AG nominee, which would have to be confirmed by the U.S. Senate, of course, are former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie, who is at the White House today, and also current Attorney General of the state of Florida, Pam Bondi, who occasionally appears on this network and who has various ties to Trump that I'm sure would come up if she is the pick. So, with all of that on the table, we welcome back to the program our buddy, Judge Andrew Napolitano, Fox News senior judicial analyst. Judge, it's good to have you.
He would be my pick for Attorney General if I had to pick. I'm just putting that out there on the record, Judge.
Oh, God love you. Good evening, guys. It's a pleasure to be on with you on your show.
Thank you.
So, Judge, what do you make of this? What do you make of Matt Whitaker? How does this affect the Mueller question, if at all, legally?
Well, it is not I, but the laws that have difficulty with Matt Whitaker, and they are as follows. Shortly after Watergate, when it seemed we were changing attorneys general and FBI directors almost monthly, the Congress wrote a series of statutes which combined require the following. To replace the Attorney General, there's only three ways to do it. One is to name the Deputy Attorney General as the acting Attorney General. Now, the President has not done that. We all know who the Deputy Attorney General is.
Mr.
He was
Rosenstein.
with the President yesterday and today, and apparently he's still the Deputy Attorney General. Although I will tell you there's a tradition in the DOJ that when the AG leaves, the deputy tenders his resignation. That may have been done or it may not have been done. So that is obviously not relevant here because Rod Rosenstein is not the President's choice. The second category of human beings that can ascend to the position of acting Attorney General are those in the Justice Department whose positions require Senate confirmation and who received Senate confirmation. Now, that's only three people at the present time because Attorney General, soon-to-be former Attorney General Sessions, and the President did not fill the remaining slots. Those three slots do not include Matt Whitaker. They are Noel Francisco, who's the Solicitor General, the government's lawyer in the Supreme Court, and John Boyd, who's the head of the Criminal Division, and name escaping me, who's the head of the Civil Rights Division. Mr. Whitaker, as the Chief of Staff of the Attorney General, is not in a position that requires, and hence he did not receive, confirmation by the Senate. Now, since I made this argument this morning about 7 o'clock Eastern Time on Fox and Friends, some have argued that the statute only requires that the person have been confirmed by the Senate at any previous time in their life.
Right, because he was confirmed a long time ago, right? 04 or something like that.
Right. It would apply to Whitaker, but that's not what the statute says. The statute says has been confirmed for the position they now have. But the bigger picture here, and Marie will like this, and a lot of your listeners won't, this language that I'm going to use. Whoever heard under the rule of law of the subject of a criminal investigation choosing his own prosecutor? I mean, that's the whole purpose for Rod Rosenstein picking Bob Mueller and not the President, because the subject can't be involved in the choice of the prosecutor. So the President's going to have a lot of issues here when and if this is challenged. Now, this would have to be challenged, meaning some person, it could be Senator Blumenthal. I pick him because he's one of the plaintiffs in the emoluments case, and the court found that he did have standing, could very well challenge this, and I think the courts will rule against the President. I'm not so sure that the challenge would come about unless and until, if ever, Mr. Whitaker does something that offends somebody, and that may not happen. I mean, we might have a new attorney general before Mr. Whitaker is in a position to influence in any way Bob Mueller.
Judge, I want to ask you about a separate but related issue, and that is the question of if this acting attorney general Whitaker stays in the position, or in as of now he is, right, until or unless he's removed, whether or not he should recuse himself from leading the Mueller investigation and keep that job in the hands of Rod Rosenstein. We have seen over the past 24 hours a number of comments that Whitaker has made about the Mueller investigation, about his judgment that Donald Trump did not collude, about how someone in charge of the investigation could defund it or do other things to undermine it, and also the fact that he ran a campaign for Sam Clovis, who is one of the witnesses before the grand jury. What's your take on this? Do you know if they've asked the ethics lawyers? Should they? Because this looks to a lot of people to be improper.
Well, the other requirement for the acting attorney general is to pass the so-called ethics test. It's not a written test. It's the ethics lawyers examining your professional behavior and your personal background. That could still be an impediment. But could you imagine what would happen if Matthew Whitaker recused himself? The president would explode. The president would fire him immediately. The president would say, here we go again. I didn't put you there to recuse yourself. So they have either already discussed this and he's satisfied, or the president is satisfied with the answer, or Whitaker has already decided before taking the job, and we believe that he's been lobbying for it for the past 4 weeks. Imagine you're the assistant to the attorney general or his chief of staff, and you're lobbying the president to fire him and give the job to you. But that's what we understand what's going on.
Yeah.
So I can't see that happening. If you want my theoretical opinion,
I do.
I think he should, but I can't imagine that he will.
I think there were reports today that he said he's not going to. I want to know what that looks like. So him saying, okay, I'm not recusing myself.
You want to know what looks like, guys?
So let's say he doesn't recuse himself, as has been reported. What does that mean? That, what authority does he have?
If he truly is the acting attorney general, and in my opinion he's not. And by the way, he didn't take an oath, so he didn't sign the Attorney General's oath of office, which is truly bizarre. I don't know why they didn't administer that oath to him, unless they administered it to him in the past 15 minutes since we've been chatting. Prior to that, I've been listening for these things. If he truly is the acting Attorney General, he can rescind the orders that Rod Rosenstein signed. Now, Rosenstein signed 2 orders, one of which is public. We've all seen it, and it lays out the task, the obligation, and the authority of Bob Mueller. The second order is secret, and it expands the task and the authority and the obligation of Bob Mueller. So the acting attorney general, if he truly is the acting attorney general, could lawfully interfere with those orders. He could lawfully interfere with the budget. Mueller's got a huge staff that the federal government pays every month. Look, Mueller also discovered what he believed was evidence of criminal behavior, either on the part of the president or on the part of the Trump organization or on the part of the president's relatives, and he decided, this is not for me, but I can't ignore it, so I'm going to send it up to New York. When he sent it to New York, Jeff Berman, who's the Trump appointee as the United States Attorney for the Southern District of New York, that's the job Rudy Giuliani had a generation and a half ago, recused himself. So his number one deputy, Bob Kazumi, who's the former chief prosecutor for the Securities and Exchange Commission, is in charge of that. Bob Mueller did exactly the right thing. He's looking for evidence of crimes on the part of Paul Manafort. He finds evidence of financial crimes outside his bailiwick, but he can't overlook them. He can't pretend that they're not there. He just sends them to the prosecutor who he believes is relevant. To whom does Bob Kazumi, the deputy to Jeff Berman, answer? Matt Whitaker.
Last question very quickly.
That's a lot of
people, a lot of names.
There.
Yeah, the org chart is confusing, and we don't even know if Whitaker, what the extent of his actual legitimate authority is. There's a big debate over that right now.
It's not good that we don't know that.
Andy McCarthy will join us later. He'll have his thoughts as well. Judge, very last question here. There's speculation that it could be, in terms of an actual permanent replacement that would have to be confirmed, Chris Christie, Pam Bondi, Lindsey Graham potentially, although I think he's pretty excited to be Judicial Committee Chairman in the Senate. Any other names that you're hearing? Any major reactions to the names that you are?
I don't think that Rudy Giuliani at this stage in his life would accept the job. I believe he's already turned it down. I think there are Republicans who would oppose Chris Christie, particularly if the Bridgegate appeal comes out the way I expect it to come about. I don't think Pam Bondi is a serious lawyer. Chris Christie is, by the way, a serious lawyer, but he has serious ethical baggage as well. So I don't know how this is going to end up. You know, the president has a little bit more of a cushion in the new Senate. I do believe that Lindsey Graham is not interested in the job, but he's the president's chief acolyte in the Senate. If he assumes the chair of the Judiciary Committee, he'll have even more influence than he now has.
Judge Andrew Napolitano, senior judicial analyst here at Fox News. Appreciate your time.
Always a pleasure, guys. See you next week. All the best.
See you soon. Sounds good. We will take a break. Come back with more on Benson and Harf.
You can watch Guy and Marie or listen anywhere on BensonandHarf.com.
Court here in Wyandotte County, it got thrown out by a liberal judge on illegal immigration, but a fighter, a friend of our president, and he will not let our president down or turn his back on him. And our president knows this.
Yes. Chris, you're going to have to school me on this. Is it Kobach or Kobach?
Kobach.
Kobach. There we go. See, they're like the composer Bach, but with a KO in front, like with a KO, a knockout in front of it. I appreciate that. Listen, Mark, thank you very much for the suggestion. Going on the list. The list is here. Let's go to Phil in North Carolina. Phil, welcome to the Laura Ingraham Show.
Thank you. Thanks for taking my call.
You're welcome.
On the timing of this, I think the timing is great. It's right after the midterms. Let's get this over with. There was no surprise. We all knew this was coming. Let's get it over with and move on. As far as who and what they would need, look, the president needs someone that's going to be loyal, someone with some teeth, willing to stand up, take the hits, and do the right thing. Haven't had that, need it desperately. This man is getting a beating from all sides. My pick, man, you got to go with someone like Trey Gowdy. This guy's a pit bull in a suit, and second choice would be Chris Christie.
There you go. Well, listen, Phil, thank you very much for the call. I appreciate that. So Phil's going with Gowdy or Chris Christie. I love it. By the way, we're going to be talking about this. Jerry Rogers, my colleague at the Institute for Liberty, my colleague in many things. Jerry's going to be joining us at 10:35, or at the 35-minute past the hour in this hour of the show. We're going to talk to him. Jerry is from New Jersey, has a great deal of experience with Chris Christie, so we're going to be putting that question to him in a very real way. Let's go to Bill in Maine. Bill, welcome to the Laura Ingraham Show.
Okay, my first pick is Trey Gowdy because he's a heads-on conservative, like the last caller says. He's a bulldog in a suit. My second one is Lindsey Graham.
Lindsey Graham.
No, Chris. Yeah, he's my second pick. But absolutely not Chris Christie. He's a rhino.
Yeah, it's interesting you said that, because I need to I'm adding now. I am literally keeping a running tally here, everybody, of a list of here. Lindsey Graham now going on the list. I don't know. I kind of think I want somebody who comes out of that prosecutorial mold in this job. Now, obviously, Chris Christie, I believe, was a U.S. attorney. I got to go back and look at his bio. Trey Gowdy, we've seen him in that prosecutorial mode. I think right now he may be my first choice. Pam Bondi in there as well for people. Listen, I don't know. I think in New Jersey, Chris Christie is considered a conservative. Maybe if you are elsewhere, he is considered a rhino, but or a squish or what have you. But we'll see. Let's go to Diane in Florida. Diane, you want to talk about Pam Bondi? Let me hear you.